Social media is extremely important. It's a major element, component, fundamental. It's everything to your brand. It's the number one essential. It's a component. It's a fundamental spectrum of your personal and professional brand. Your social media needs to be consistent on who you are and who you are becoming. With that being said, that you can't use one and be one thing and be on another and be another thing, because then it shows inconsistency. Social media is very important because when we first all got on there, we got real hype, got real like, yeah, I'm just going to just whatever, from the moment you open your eyes, you snapping, you're doing whatever. And then it gets a little crazy. When you start to look back at what you're posting, does it really show your favor of your brand? So for me, you don't need to know my personal life. You just need to know what I do in public relations. So my Instagram, my Snapchat, my Facebook Live, my Instagram Live, my LinkedIn is consistent because I have a bigger picture, a bigger vision of who I am and what I want to do. People are visual. Social media is very important. It's free advertisement. It's free promotion of either foolery or, you showing up great things. That's important, that you don't make your social media all about you. You make it about, what's the message of my brand that I want to convey to the world. There's so many lessons. First, God has to be your only source of getting through it, because it's a tough road. It's a tough business. It's a male-dominated business. So if you don't have God and faith, when them times you will go through your trials and errors, and you're going to come home and cry and want to give up. I can't tell you how many times I wanted to give up. Just walk away and just say, I just want a 9 to 5. I don't care. But it's a passion, it's a fuel in me that I only believe God can give you. And you have to figure out what God wants you to do with it. And when you feel that all the odds are against you, you're like, okay, God, you put this in me. Because sometimes I struggle. Is it just something I want to do and I don't want to pay attention to what he really wants me to do? That kind of thing. But then I think about it at the same time. I didn't choose sports. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to work over in entertainment. I was too busy trying to chase after P. Diddy, Jermaine Dupri, and all these, these other artists. And God said, no, I want you over here. So when those times, I had self-doubt, that I felt no one believed in me or no one wanted to help me, it was a passion, it was a fuel, it was my faith that kept me going. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, do your due diligence. Get your education. Don't try to skate by. Get your education, complete your education, get all the other certificates to add on to your education. I have 8 certificates, 1 in sports management, 1 in artist development, production, because I did TV and everything before. So you want those things so people, because you don't want people to question you. And second guess, why should they work with you? They're going to do it anyway, just because. But you want to be able to uphold yourself and say, I have these things, and unfortunately, if that's not enough for you, okay, move on. So to complete your education, earn your stripes, make sure your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted, do the internships, do the work. Don't think you're going to get by because you think you look good, that people say you're attractive. And, I had a lawyer who I fired that actually said to me, use what you got to get what you want. And that disturbed me, for him to say that to me. And when he was saying that to me, he was looking down and not to me. So I felt it was degrading. It was sexist. And it actually made me put up a wall. And I went really hard when I was trying to work for players, for them not to look at me other than in a professional manner. So, I have this hard exterior, and I felt it was because of what my former attorney said to me at that time that just really bothered me. But then I also seen publicists that claim they're publicists, and They're really the mistress or the side chick. So my other recommendation is do not get in this business by laying on your back. Do not get in this business by being on your knees. Do not get in this industry to sell your soul. It's not worth it. You will lose. You will not be successful. It's a big industry, but a small world. People do talk. People will call about you. People will reference about you, whether it's positive or negative. What I found interesting a couple years ago when I was trying to get Sean Andrews from the Philadelphia Eagles at one point, I was working for Paul Spicer from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Paul was more seasoned and older, so he was helping me to kind of understand the mentality of the younger players. And him and Sean had an interchange conversation on the field during the game about me while they were in the huddle. Paul was like, yo, my publicist trying to get you, hire her. Like, it was crazy. And how I found out was they both told me the story 2 separate occasions. And Sean was like, yeah, while we were in the huddle, Paul mentioned your name. And Paul said, yeah, while I was in the huddle, I told Sean to hire you. And I'm like, y'all, wait a minute, during the game? Not in the locker room. During the game, while y'all supposed to be hut 1, 2, 1, 3, y'all talking about Parisnicole. He said, you know how many conversations is in that huddle? It ain't about football. And I was shocked. And I'm glad it was a positive conversation and not a negative conversation. And after that, I did secure Sean Andrews. So my point what I'm trying to say is be mindful on what your brand is. We as publicists, public relations professionals, we have a brand. We have to lead by example. We cannot shortchange that one bit. So I have to be mindful as well when I'm on social media and I'm ready to clap back at somebody, that if I'm going to clap back at you, I need to be politically correct, because I don't want my stuff to be screenshot and be on TMZ and MediaTakeout.com or IndustryBlast.com. I don't need that kind of attention, and I'm not looking for that. Be mindful that you have some clients that just want instant fame. I tell people I don't do instant fame. I'm looking for long-term successes. So if you want to just do a reality star, they're just going to, like the momentum for 1 or 2, 3 years, and you get your little quick retainer. Good. That's it. Be truthful to what you want to do in this industry. That's not my goal. My goal is to have long-term clients, and even after their career, I'm still working for them and with them and building other entrepreneur opportunities outside of what their true spectrum was. Because all careers come to an end at one point in time, especially the NFL means not for long. So, most of my clients that I've had in the past are retired, but they are successful entrepreneurs, and I'm still providing some sort of resources for them, helping them get speaking engagements. They're now speakers, they're now authors, they're now mortgage owners, they own restaurants across the country. So my public relations services are still useful to them even after football. Small businesses, just going through the transition with them. Nonprofits, the same as well. So I'm starting to get a lot of actors coming to me for their services, which is like that vision I've had of my client accepting an Oscar one day and saying, I want to thank my publicist, Parisnicole Payton. So I will be attending some film festivals this year to tap into that. I will be also converting over to baseball. The money is longer, guaranteed. So I'm ready to expand from the NFL, not leave the NFL. I love my babies, but I've been with the NFL for over about 15 years, mastered the blueprint of the NFL and the Super Bowl. So I think I need to go other places as well, still service the NFL guys, but I want to see if I can get love from somewhere else. So just to be authentic, be organic, be truthful. And I've been getting a lot of that feedback as well. I've actually had an exchange with someone on Instagram about that. Someone actually put out there that a lot of public relations professionals claim to be are stealing people's money and so forth. So public relations has been tarnished through the years. We are not following the blueprint of public relations. People think public relations is just doing a red carpet and being cute. No, it's not. It's so much more than that. The red carpet is the last thing I think about with my client. That's the last thing I'm thinking about. When people do come to me and say, why should I pay you? The first thing I say is, you're not paying me. You're investing in your brand. That's the first thing I say. If you're just looking at it as you're just giving me money, then you're not putting a true value on yourself, and you're not putting a true value on what you're looking for yourself. So it's an investment. Just like you choose to go to a certain university, because you're investing in your education. You're not saying, I'm giving this school my money, so what am I going to get out of it? You know what I'm saying? Because once you give the university your money, you got to still put in the work to get the education, right? You're just going to the university because of its historic name, or, you know, the other people that came from that university, or whatever the case may be, or maybe they really just have a very impressionable academic program. So you're investing in the university to help you get your education. It's the same thing. You're not giving me your money. I'm not taking your money and go buying a yacht. I mean, that would be nice. You're paying for the time that I have to, the due diligence and the administration to fuel what we need to do to bring brand awareness and media exposure and all the other things that you need to do what your vision is about. So if you are making unwise investment decisions, you have to first look at yourself. And the couple of questions that I ask clients that come to me and say, what was your mistakes in choosing that publicist? Let's not talk about the mistakes that publicist made. Let's talk about the mistake you made choosing that publicist, because maybe you didn't do your due diligence. Because the same for me, I made mistakes in choosing certain clients that I shouldn't have worked with. And then I said to myself, maybe it wasn't the client, maybe it was me. Maybe I didn't really set the bar. Maybe I didn't set the expectations. Maybe I didn't ask enough questions. Maybe I just jumped in the ocean, no life jacket, and just assumed we're going to be kumbaya. And it wasn't like that. So I had to stop being mad at some of the clients that I had and say, why is it not working out? And say, you know what, Paris, you're not really sitting these guys down and really getting into why are they hiring you and letting them know the expectations. One of my expectations is when I'm with a player, most of my clients are not just football players. I have a lot of small business owners that are men. Some of them are married, some of them are not. The first thing that they have to do is give me a 30-second introduction, no matter where we are. You immediately must let people know I'm your publicist. You cannot form an impression or a perception that I'm your girlfriend, your wife, your mistress, some flyby, some random. That's the first thing. You must immediately introduce me as, this is Parisnicole, my publicist. That opens the door for people to immediately know who we are and why we're here. So that was things that I didn't do in the past. I just automatically assumed they knew how to do that. So for example, and I'll say the name, Emmitt Smith's wife, Pat Smith, she said that I was one of the best publicists that she ever came across. You know, and she said it to my client, you have a great publicist. And that may mean something small to someone else, but that meant something so great to me. Because that wasn't the first time I seen her at Super Bowl. That was probably the third time. So what I tell people, people are watching you in silence. Just because you see somebody, that don't mean that that don't mean they're not paying attention. They may not give you their full attention, but they're paying attention, but in silence. But you have to be doing what you say you do, and you have to be great at it. So when people see you, they see you. It's a visual, you know? So it's an ongoing job, but you have to passion for it. You have to have a passion for it. Passion fuels you because you have a mission and purpose for why you're doing what you're doing. Everything that you do has to be driven with a purpose. From the time you wake up, we are in a very dangerous state of mind in society today. You got people who are waking up angry, walking through the day angry, going to sleep angry, and dreaming angry. And they do it every single day, right? You got people like me that wake up and say, thank you, Jesus, Lord. How do you want me to carry on your work today? I ain't thinking about nothing else. And then I'm like, okay, how can I be better? How can I be better? That's all I'm going through my day. How can I be better? 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 Because I want to be an asset to everybody that come to me. My friends, family, co-workers, business associates, clients, whomever is in my life. You will never walk away from me and say she was a liability. So you have the passion to want to do great, be great. That's a passion, but that starts with self first, right? Then it's whatever you want to do. I don't care what it is. Do it, but do it with passion. Well, I'm on all social media. The name is the PNP agency. Unfortunately, players don't Google. You know, it's kind of like an in-circle kind of thing, referrals, whatever thing. I get my players in directly myself. I can reach out to a player on Instagram, introduce myself, and I do it in a way that you can't deny me. You know what I'm saying? I do it like in a letter form, and then I send it through Instagram like a flyer, and I give my little spill who I am. And some of them will take a little bit to get it because they're like, okay, out of the 100 DMs I got this one strange professional. What is this? This ain't somebody trying to holler at me. And my hashtags are business related only, business related purposes. You know, so I'm letting you know I'm not coming to you for any other reasons. And that's how I got a few of my NFL clients was through Instagram that way. Not through going through somebody, not going through their agent, not going through anybody else. I actually went to the player directly and said, this is who I am. I would like to invite you to, X, Y, and Z. I always like to invite them somewhere so they can actually see who I am and what I do instead of just talking. When we're on the phone, I keep the conversation very limited, under 15 minutes. And when I do travel with my clients, I don't stay in the same hotel with them. We're in 2 separate hotels. And that's just respect that they're married or have a significant other. But it's also in respect of our relationship. And if they are a big player, I'm not trying to be seen on TMZ or Media Takeout. I don't want to be caught up in all of that. So a lot of that stuff that you do see on social media is all staged. A lot of publicists will try to figure out how can I get out there. So a lot of publicists are just for themselves. They'll position themselves to make it look like they're with somebody other than a business relationship. If they're really business minded, they have to really say, what type of publicist do I want? Do they got to have their own expectation, their own job description of what they want as well? But unfortunately, business players don't think business minded like that. They have some guys that will work with several publicists at one time, and I agree with that, but I disagree with it because it's kind of like I feel like sometimes the players are trying to use people for their own benefit gain, and it's kind of like I had one player. He said, well, I work with other publicists. And I said, that's fine. So let me break it down for you. It's an 80-20 rule in most cases, right? Because I know you're working for other publicists and you're not exclusively signed to me, I'm a 60-40 deal. Take it or leave it. He's like, well, that's not the standard. It's not in the Bible either. My terms and conditions is 60-40. What that means is that you're utilizing other resources, which is great. That's how you want to run your business. I'm cool with that. But I'm not going to be sitting over here fueling 24/7 for you when I know someone else is doing it as well. And I'm only getting paid 20%. So if I get you a 5,000 speaking engagement deal, I'm only getting 500 out of that. and I may have worked on that deal for 6 months. Nah, I need to get paid for my administration because you're not paying me up front. If you're paying me up front, a flat fee for my time, then I'll take the 80-20. But since you're not, because you dipping and dabbing in other people, you know, you got all these, you passing around a cookie jar, then I'm going to take the 60-40. So you can either take it or leave it, or you can go to those other publicists. Now, if you want to work with me exclusively, there's no 80-20-60 rule, 60-40 rule. I just get paid. And if I get you an endorsement deal, all that money goes to you. See, they don't understand there's different packages, there's different terms and conditions. There's no set way. It's what that publicist, what you and that publicist agree to. But I don't just do public relations. I'm doing management, I'm negotiating, I'm doing a lot of other things for you. And so when he told me that, I couldn't argue with him. Like, he could do whatever he wanted to do. But I tell everybody this: you could have 50 million publicists, but you only get one PNP. See, here's the thing: you could be paying other publicists, but not paying me, because it's not my business what your deal is with the other publicists. So you could be paying her, but not paying me. But everything that I'm bringing to you, you telling her. So technically, she's not doing the work, but you paying her. So that's where the education comes at. Power to make those type of decisions and not shortchange yourself and not devalue who you are and what your worth is. I finally met, after 15 years, Drew Rosenhaus, one of the #1 sports agents. And the second great sport agent is Lee Steinberg. And every year I attend Lee Steinberg's networking event at Super Bowl. So I go to a Nike suite at Super Bowl, and someone who inquired my services, my business, tried to keep me from getting into this party, to this Nike's event. So a name was dropped at the door. So we used that name, and I was able to get in. So when you have a passion and God has a purpose on you, no one can stop you. No one can stop you. That was the highlight of my trip. Right after that, I had to go say a prayer because the devil was trying to keep me from going in. Secondly, my client was meeting me there, and I didn't want my client to see me outside. It's the divine purpose that God has on my life that keeps me fueling. You know, being an entrepreneur is great, but it comes with a lot of sacrificing. If your page is private, I won't follow you. I met a girl last night. She's an attorney. She's following me on Instagram now. Her page is private. I will not follow her back. And if you ask me why I'm not following you, I'm going to tell you why. I don't follow private pages. We ain't friends. I want your public page, because I'm going to be dealing with you on a public partnership. You just have to be mindful that the language that you're talking is the language that you're walking. Right. Be mindful, be selective, be wise, and say, how is this going to make me look? What are people when they... Because my thing is, I don't like the word perception. Perception is never positive. When someone has a perception about you, it's always based on something negative. A negative assumption of what they think about you based on the lack of what they have of themselves. Don't give nobody that power.